Good morning, everybody. This is Sudhakar Lakawat, Department of Pharmacology. Today we are going to discuss about cholinergic drugs and anticholinergic drugs. Today we are going to discuss about cholinergic drugs and anticholinergic drugs. Okay. Cholinergic system. Drugs affecting the autonomic nervous system are divided into two groups according to the type of neuron involved in their mechanism of action. Okay. Drugs affecting the autonomic nervous system are divided into two groups according to the type of neuron involved in their mechanism of action. The cholinergic drugs act on the receptor that are activated by acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the main neurotransmitter in the cholinergic system. It's a neurotransmitter. Acetylcholine is the main neurotransmitter in the cholinergic system. So, autonomic nervous system. So, nervous system is divided into two types: central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Again, peripheral nervous system is again divided into two types: autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. Okay. Autonomic nervous system is again divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic system. Okay. Nervous system is divided into two types, that is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system is again divided into two types: autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. So this autonomic nervous system again divided into sympathetic system and parasympathetic system. You can see autonomic nervous system. Okay. Autonomic nervous system divided into two types, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay. So the ANS has two divisions, sympathetic and parasympathetic. The sympathetic division arises from the thoracolumbar region. The sympathetic division arises from the thoracolumbar region. Okay. And the parasympathetic division arises from the two separate regions in the CNS. The cranial outflow from the cranial nerves. That is 3, 7, 9 and 10. And the sacral outflow from S2, S3 and S4 of the spinal roots. In sympathetic system, the preganglionic fibers are short and postganglionic fibers are long. In sympathetic system, there is preganglionic fiber and postganglionic fiber. So preganglionic fibers are very short and postganglionic fibers are very long. On the other hand, the parasympathetic preganglionic fibers are very long and postganglionic fibers are very short. Okay. In parasympathetic, preganglionic fibers are very long and postganglionic fibers are very short. Most of the visceral organs have dual nerve supply. Most of the visceral organs have dual nerve supply. That is, they are supplied by the both divisions of the autonomic nervous system. That is sympathetic and parasympathetic. But the effect of one system is predominant. Okay. Most of the visceral organs have dual nerve supply, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay. But the effect of one system is predominant. The ciliary muscle, pancreatic and gastric gland receive only parasympathetic supply. Sweat gland, hair follicle, spleen and most of the blood vessels have only sympathetic supply. Their stimulation is usually produce opposite effect on the innervating organ. Okay. Their stimulation usually produce opposite effect on the innervating organ. For example, If sympathetic stimulation, if sympathetic system is stimulated, then on the heart rate will increase and force of contraction also increase. If parasympathetic system is activated, then it decrease the force of the heart rate. Sorry, heart rate is decreased and force of the contraction also decrease. Sympathetic is stimulatory action and parasympathetic is inhibitory action. Okay. And sympathetic system, if the sympathetic system is stimulated, then mediasis is and parasympathetic stimulation, meiosis. And the bronchial muscle. Sympathetic, if the sympathetic system is stimulated, then bronchodilation will occur. And parasympathetic stimulation, bronchospasm. And GI system, gastrointestinal tract system. When the sympathetic stimulation, GI, the gastrointestinal motility is decreased and sphincter tone is increases. And parasympathetic stimulation, GI motility increases and sphincter are relaxed. This is the thing. Okay. So acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter in the sympathetic system, cholinergic system. Sorry. Acetylcholine is a main neurotransmitter in the cholinergic system. So synthesis of acetylcholine. We'll discuss about synthesis of acetylcholine. See, choline enters the cholinergic neuron by carrier-mediated transport. Okay, you can clearly see choline is entering into the cholinergic neuron by carrier-mediated transport. And here it reacts with acetyl coenzyme A. Okay, choline enters the cholinergic neuron by carrier-mediated transport, and here it is reacted with acetyl coenzyme A with the help of choline acetyl transferase enzyme and form acetylcholine. Choline enters the cholinergic neuron by carrier-mediated transport, and here it is reacted with acetyl coenzyme A with the help of choline acetyl transferase enzyme to form acetylcholine. Now this acetylcholine is formed, and this is stored in vesicles. Okay, acetylcholine is synthesized, and the synthesized acetylcholine is stored in the vesicles, and it releases into the synaptic cleft when the action potential reaches the nerve terminals. Okay, and acetylcholine is released into the synaptic cleft when the action potential reaches the nerve terminal. Okay, then this released acetylcholine interact with cholinergic receptors on the effector cells and activate them. The released acetylcholine interact with cholinergic receptor on the effector cell and activate them in the synaptic cleft. The acetylcholine is rapidly hydrolyzed by acetylcholine esterase enzyme. Okay, and some of the acetylcholine is taken up by the autoreceptors, and acetylcholine is hydrolyzed here to acetate and choline. Acetate and choline by cholinesterase enzyme, and this choline is taken up by the nerve, and some of the acetylcholine is taken up back by autoreceptor. Okay, and synthesis of acetylcholine. This is the synthesis of acetylcholine. So cholinergic receptors, how many types and their function we'll discuss. How many types of cholinergic receptors we'll discuss. The cholinergic receptors. Two families of cholinergic receptors are there. That is muscarinic and nicotinic receptors. So muscarinic receptors. How many types of muscarinic receptors are there? Selective. These muscarinic receptors are selectively stimulated by the muscarine and blocked by atropine. So muscarinic receptors are high affinity to muscarinic and low affinity to nicotine. Okay, these are activated by muscarinic and inhibited by atropine. And cholinergic receptor subtypes. Subtypes are 5, that is M1, M2, M3, M4 and M5. But functionally M2, M1, M2 and M3 are functionally recognized. These muscarinic receptors are 5 types, subtypes. M1, M2, M3, M4 and M5. But M1, M2 and M3 are functionally recognized. Okay. And M1 receptors are present in autonomic ganglia, gastric gland and CNS. M2 are present in heart, SA node, AV node, atrium, ventricle and cholinergic nerve endings, CNS and visceral smooth muscle. M3 receptors are present in visceral smooth muscle, iris, ciliary muscle, exocrine gland and vestibular endothelium exocrine gland. So characteristic features of the receptor, that is cellular response and functional response. When the M1 and M3 receptors are stimulated, that cellular response is they increase the inositol triphosphate and they increase diacylglycerol. Then what will happen? Increase the learning memory and it promotes the glandular secretion and smooth muscle contraction. M2 receptor stimulation decrease cyclic adenosine monophosphate and it opens the potassium channel. When the potassium channels are open, there is hyperpolarization, functional response. Hyperpolarization. When the hyperpolarization is there, when the hyperpolarization occurs, then it will depress the SA node, sinoatrial node, and depress the AV node, and decrease the atrial and ventricular contraction. So decrease the heart rate and force of contraction also. And when the NM receptors are stimulated, they open the ion channels. Then what will happen? Depolarization. Same. NM receptor also opening the ion channel. Same depolarization and skeletal muscle contraction. Okay. Now cholinergic receptors. Nicotinic. Nicotinic receptors are selectively activated by nicotine, and these receptors are blocked by D-tubocurarine and hexamethonium. Okay, nicotinic receptors are very high affinity to nicotine and low affinity to muscarine. Okay, and nicotinic subtype receptors are two types, NM and NN. NM receptors are located at neuromuscular junction. NM receptors are located at neuromuscular junction, and NN receptors are present on autonomic ganglia and adrenal medulla. These are nicotinic receptor subtypes. Okay. And CNS, nicotinic receptors also present in CNS, but their action is site-specific excitation or inhibition. Cholinergic drugs. Cholinergic drugs mimic the action of acetylcholine. So, cholinergic drugs mimic the action of acetylcholine either by directly interacting with the cholinergic receptors. Cholinergic agonists. These are called as directly acting drugs. In that, cholinesterase and alkaloid is there. Cholinesterase are acetylcholine, methacholine, carbachol, and methanol. And alkaloids are muscarinic, pilocarpine, ericoline. So this is drug classification actually. I will show you in the next slide. You see here. Yes, cholinergic drug classification. That cholinergic drugs are divided into two types: directly acting, indirectly acting. So directly acting are cholinesterase and alkaloids. Cholinesterase acetylcholine, methanol, carbachol, and alkaloid pilocarpine, muscarinic, and ericoline. And indirectly acting These are also called as anticholinergic drugs. These are reversible and irreversible. In reversible, carbamate, pyzostigmine, neostigmine, pyridostigmine, edroponium, rivastigmine, and donepezil, galantamine. These are reversible anticholinergic drugs. And irreversible are organophosphorus compounds, parathan, malathan, serine, somen, and diflos, ecotherapy. These are organophosphorus compounds. This is the classification of the drugs. So, acetylcholine is a prototype drug. When muscarinic receptors are activated, their action on heart, what will happen? The muscarinic receptors are activated, then what will happen to the heart? We'll discuss. Muscarinic. When the muscarinic receptors are activated, it reduces the impulse generation, that is bradycardia, and conduction is slowed down. And force of atrial conduction is markedly reduced. Ventricular contractility also reduced, but the effect is not marked. Okay. So on blood vessels, what will happen? Acetylcholine stimulates M3 receptor of the vascular endothelial cells, which release endothelium derived releasing factor. Endothelium derived releasing factor is nothing but nitric oxide. Okay. Acetylcholine stimulates the M3 receptor of the vascular endothelial cells. This release nitric oxide and it will dilate the blood vessels. So what will happen? Vasodilation. Dilated skin, face, neck and salivary gland. And there is fall in BP. When the blood vessels are dilated, then peripheral blood flow is decreases. Then fall in BP. Okay, and smooth muscle. Most of the organs is constricted. Okay, and tone and peristaltis of the GIT is increases, and GI secretion also increases. Sphincter is relaxed, so evacuation of the bowel is there. Detrusor muscle contract and bladder trigone and sphincter relaxes. So there is a voiding of urine. So there is a voiding of urine, causes urination. It contracts the detrusor muscle and relaxes trigone and sphincter. And bronchial muscle are constricted. So there is bronchospasm. Okay, and glands. Sweating, salivation, lacrimation, and bronchial gastric secretion are increased. Less effect on pancreatic and intestinal glands. Secretion of the milk and bile is not affected. Okay. I. Acetylcholine does not produce any effect on topical administration because it's poor penetration through the tissues. But contraction of circular muscle of iris. So when the circular muscle of iris is contracted, then miosis will occur. Okay. The acetylcholine action can be depicted on eyes as follows. If acetylcholine given IV, pilocarpine and pyzostigmine, they stimulate the M3 receptor. When the M3 receptors are stimulated, they contract the sphincter pupilla. Miosis will occur, and they contract the ciliary muscle, spasm of accommodation, and thereby open the trabecular meshwork around the canal slum. Okay, they contract the sphincter pupilla, that is miosis, contract the ciliary muscle, spasm of accommodation, and thereby open the trabecular meshwork around the canal of Schlemm. They open the trabecular meshwork around the canal of Schlemm and facilitate the drainage of aqueous humor and thereby reduce the intraocular pressure in glaucoma. In glaucoma, what will happen? There is a intraocular pressure is increases to more than 22 mmHg. In glaucoma, 22 mmHg of intraocular tension is present. It is more than 22 mmHg. So nicotinic, when the nicotinic receptors are activated, then what will happen? Autonomic ganglia. Both sympathetic and parasympathetic ganglia are stimulated in higher doses. Then tachycardia, rise in BP, because the releases of catecholamines are there. When nicotinic receptors are activated on autonomic ganglia, there is tachycardia, rise in BP, because the release of catecholamines. And both sympathetic and parasympathetic ganglia are stimulated in higher doses. Higher doses. Okay. Skeletal muscle. Inotropic application of acetylcholine to muscle and plate causes contraction of muscle. Intraarterial injection of the high dose can cause twitching and fasciculation, followed by prolonged depolarization of neuromuscular junction and paralysis. Okay. CNS. Intravenous administered acetylcholine does not cause any central effect because of poor penetration through the blood-brain barrier. So there is no central effect. Direct injection into brain produce some complex pattern of stimulation followed by depression. Methanical. It has selective muscarinic action on GAT and urinary bladder. It is preferred in postoperative urinary retention and paralytic ES. It has selective muscarinic action on GAT and urinary bladder. It is preferred in postoperative urinary retention and paralytic ES because it has a wide margin of safety. It has no nicotinic action. Its muscarinic side effects are completely antagonized by atropine. In urinary retention, it causes widening of urine by contracting the detrusor muscle and relaxing the trigone of the sphincter. It is used to stimulate the autonomic bladder in the postpartum or postoperative non-obstructive urinary retention. And neurogenic bladder, congenital megacolon, and gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. And these side effects are belching, polyp, involuntary urination, and defecation. And flushing also occurs, sweating, and there is fall in BP and bronchospasm. Pilocarpine. So pilocarpine obtained from Pilocarpus microphyllus or Pilocarpus jaborandi. It is a tertiary amine. It has prominent action on muscarinic receptor. It also stimulates the ganglia mainly through the ganglionic muscarinic receptors. So pilocarpine 0.5 to 4% solution used topically in the treatment of open angle and acute congestive glaucoma. Pilocarpine 0.5 to 4% solution is used topically in the treatment of open angle glaucoma and acute congestive glaucoma. It is used alternatively with the mydriatics. Pilocarpine is used alternatively with mydriatics to break the adhesion between the iris and lens. It is used to reverse the pupillary dilatation after refraction testing also. Pilocarpine is also used to reverse the pupillary dilatation after diffraction testing. Okay. Most selective action on exocrine gland, that is sweat, salivary, lacrimation, bronchial, and gastric. Then other tissues, plain muscle like CVS. So cholomimetic alkaloid, it causes marked increase of sweating, salivation, and other secretions. Cardiovascular effects are very complex, and small doses generally cause fall in BP. In higher doses cause rise in BP and tachycardia. When it applied to the eye, it penetrates the cornea and promptly causes miosis, ciliary muscle contraction, and fall in intraocular tension. The action lasts for 4 to 8 hours. When it is applied to the eye, it penetrates the cornea and promptly causes miosis, ciliary muscle contraction, and fall in intraocular tension. When the intraocular tension is decreases, then what will happen? It is used in glaucoma. In glaucoma, intraocular tension is increased. It will increase. It will decrease the intraocular tension, no? So it is used in glaucoma also. Uses only in the eye as eye drops, 0.5 to 4%. Third line drug in open angle glaucoma to counteract the mydriasis, to prevent or break the adhesion between iris with the lens or cornea, alternative to mydriasis. Side effect. Initial, there is a stinging sensation in the eye and thereby spasm of accommodation. Okay. Muscarine. It occurs in poisonous mushrooms only, Amanita muscaria and Inocybe species. Only muscarinic actions. It is not used therapeutically. There is no therapeutical value, but it has some importance is there in toxicological studies. So, muscarine, it is the active ingredient of poisonous mushrooms, Amanita muscaria and Inocybe species. Some type of mushroom poisoning are also explained, like rapid onset type and hallucination type and delayed type. And rapid onset type caused by Inocybe species. It is characterized by excessive muscarinic effects such as nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and bradycardia, salivation, sweating, and bronchospasm also occurs. It responds to IV atropine. Okay, rapid onset type caused by Inocybe species, and some hallucination type also there. It is caused by Amanita muscaria. It produces mainly central effect. There is no specific antidote. Atropine is contraindicated in this type. Hallucination type, atropine is contraindicated. And delayed onset type is caused by Amanita pallidens. It results in hepatic and renal damage. It does not respond to atropine and it is treated with thiotic acid. It is treated with thiotic acid. And ericoline. Ericoline is found in betel nut, Erica cachi. It has muscarinic and nicotinic action. Has no therapeutic use. Now, anticholinesterases, indirectly acting parasympathomimetics. So, acetylcholinesterase is an enzyme that specifically kills the acetylcholine to acetate and choline and thus terminate the action of acetylcholine. It is located both pre and post synaptically in the nerve terminal, and it is a membrane bound enzyme. Acetylcholinesterase is a membrane bound. So, acetylcholine hydrolysis reaction is catalyzed by acetylcholinesterase enzyme. So, acetylcholine is hydrolyzed to acetic acid and choline. Acetylcholine, it is the active form and it is hydrolyzed to acetic acid and choline, which is inactive. and choline is again taken up by the neurons. Anticholinergics. Anticholinergics are inhibitors of acetylcholinesterase, indirectly provide a cholinergic action by prolonging the lifetime of acetylcholine, produced endogenously at the cholinergic nerve endings. This results in the accumulation of acetylcholine in the synaptic space. Okay, these are inhibitor of acetylcholinesterases. So acetylcholine is hydrolyzed to choline and acetic acid by the enzyme acetylcholine esterase. These will inhibit the enzyme here indirectly. There is so what will happen? These are inhibitors of acetylcholine esterase enzyme. So indirectly they will increase the acetylcholine in the synaptic layer and produce endogenously at the cholinergic nerve endings. This results in the accumulation of acetylcholine in the synaptic space. These drugs provoke a response to all cholinesterase in the body. So the features of anticholinesterase, these are esters of carbomic acid and have structural similarity with acetylcholine. Their actions are qualitatively similar to that of directly acting cholinesterase stimulants. However, relative intensity of action and muscarinic and ganglionic skeletal muscle and CNS sites varies among a different individual. Lipid soluble agent, phytosigmin and organophosphates. These have more marked muscarinic and ganglionic stimulant action and CNS. Less effect on neuromuscular junction. So general features: lipid soluble agents, neostigmine and other quaternary ammonium compound have more marked effect on skeletal muscle and ganglia. Muscarinic effect also less. There is no central effect. Edrophonium and tacrin attach only to the nicotinic side of the enzyme. Okay, edrophonium and tacrin attach only to the nicotinic side of the enzyme, while organophosphate attach only to the esteratic side. Okay, organophosphate compounds are attached to the esteratic side. Reversible anticholinesterase, that is physostigmine. So physostigmine is a tertiary ammonium compound. It is a alkaloid obtained from the plant Physostigma vinosum. It is also called as calabar bean. Natural the tertiary amine has good penetration through the tissues. Hence, topically it is effective. Topically, it crosses the blood-brain barrier, produce both central and peripheral effect, and disposed after hydrolysis by choline esterase enzyme. Mainly used as as a miotic and to treat glaucoma either alone or combination with pilocarpine. Systemic use in the treatment of atropine poisoning, that is belladonna poisoning. Neostigmine. Neostigmine is a synthetic quaternary ammonium compound. Has poor penetration, hence topically not effective. Poorly absorbed orally and conjunctiva and does not cross the blood-brain barrier. So it is topically ineffective. Action on the nicotinic receptor is stronger than on muscarinic receptors. Act on skeletal muscle by inhibition of cholinesterase enzyme and also by stimulant action. Action lasts for half an hour to 2 hours. It is widely used for the treatment of Myasthenia gravis or for poisoning by deutogopurarine and related drugs. Postoperative paralytic ileus and urinary retention, postoperative decolorization, and cobra bite. Hydroponia. Action is brief, 10 minutes to 30 minutes. Weak but more specific action on skeletal muscle. It is a weak action, but more specific action on the skeletal muscle. Used in diagnosis of Myasthenia gravis and post-operative decolorization. It is a quaternary ammonium compound. On IV administration, it has a rapid onset but short duration of action. Okay. Hydrophonium is a quaternary ammonium compound. On IV administration, it has rapid onset but short duration of action. That is last for 10 to 30 minutes. So, hydrophonium is used in the diagnosis of Myasthenia gravis. It is used to differentiate the Myasthenia crisis from the cholinergic crisis. Hydrophonium used in the diagnosis of Myasthenia gravis, used to differentiate the myasthenic crisis from cholinergic crisis. In Curare poisoning, hydrophonium is preferred because of its rapid onset of action. In Curare poison, hydrophonium is used because of a rapid onset of action. Now coming to pyridostigmine. Similar to neostigmine. Pyridostigmine actions are similar to neostigmine. It is less potent and longer duration of action. The action lasts for 3 to 6 hours. And it can be used in Myasthenia gravis. It has a better tolerated by myasthenic patients. Okay, it is better tolerated by myasthenic patients. Uses of anticholinergics. These are used in glaucoma, Myasthenia gravis, postoperative paralytic ileus, urinary retention, postoperative decolorization, cobra bite, belladonna poisoning, that is atropa belladonna, atropine poisoning, and other drugs overdoses, and Alzheimer's disease, like in Alzheimer's disease, rivastigmine, donepezil, and galantamine are used. These are the uses of anticholinergics. Irreversible anticholinergics, that is organophosphorus compounds. Organophosphorus compounds. All are highly lipid soluble except ecothiopate. They are all highly lipid soluble. These are non-polar compounds, volatile, rapidly absorbed from the intact skin, mucous surface like conjunctiva, lung, and gut, and can cross blood-brain barrier and produce central effect. They react only with the esteratic site. Except ecothiopate, they react only with esteratic site, not nicotinic site. They not react with nicotinic site. They only react with esteratic site and inactivate them. Since they are toxic, they cannot be used systemically. These are toxic compounds, so these are not used systemically. Used only topically in glaucoma, except ecothiopate. 0.6% is used topically in glaucoma. The effect of single installation lasts for 1 to 3 weeks. So organophosphorus compound poisoning, OP poisoning, because nowadays OP poisoning occurring commonly because it is easily available and it is used as a agriculture and household insecticides. The organophosphorus poisoning is occurred accidentally as well as suicidal or homicidal poisoning is common nowadays. So Local muscarinic manifestation at the site of exposure, like skin, eye, and GIT, occur immediately, followed by the complex systemic effect due to muscarinic and nicotinic and central effect, because these compounds crosses the blood-brain barrier and produce central effect also, because these are highly lipid soluble compounds. So poisoning, uh, uh, the intoxication occurs in following ways: injection via the GI tract, mostly suicidal purpose, and absorption through the skin, it is accidentally, and inhalation through the respiratory tract, maybe it is also accidentally poison can occur. But intoxication occur for if intoxication via GI, mostly somebody they are taken to the mouth. So mostly suicidal intensity people will take mouth. Organophosphorus compound poisoning. Their symptoms: they are irritation of the eye, lacrimation, sweating, copious bronchial secretion, myiasis, blurring of vision, breathlessness, and colic, involuntary defecation and urination. Involuntary defecation and urination, fall in BP, bradycardia or tachycardia, cardiac arrhythmias, and vascular collapse, muscular fasciculation, weakness, respiratory paralysis, and central and peripheral. Excitement, tremor, ataxia, convulsion, coma, and finally the person may die. Death is generally due to the respiratory failure, because the intercostal muscles are very much contracted. So the what will happen? Respiratory failure will occur. So treatment: organophosphorus poison. So organophosphorus poison can be diagnosed by history of exposure, characteristic signs and symptoms, and estimating the cholinesterase activity in the blood, whether it is decreased or increases. So remove termination of the further exposure to the poison and instead fresh air to wash the skin and mucous membrane, and gastric lavage should be done according to the need, and maintain patient airway and thereby supportive measures. Remove the contaminated cloth, wash with soap and water, and artificial respiration is given if necessary. And diazepam should be cautiously used, slow IV injection to control the convulsion. If convulsion is there, to control the convulsion, diazepam should be used cautiously by slow IV injections. Okay. So treatment of OP poisoning. So muscarinic receptor antidote is atropine. Nicotinic receptor antidote is prolidoxin. So prolidoxin within 24 hours only they can active. They show their action within 24 hours only. After the exposure of 24 hours, the prolidoxin is not effective. So central nervous system, there is no antidote. Atropine acts partially only in high doses, and supportive measures should be. And specific measures is atropine. So atropine is the first drug to given in organophosphorus poisoning. Inject atropine 2 mg IV stab, and it should be repeated every 5 to 10 minutes, doubling the dose if required, till the patient is fully atropinized, fully dilated, and non-reactive people, fluctuated skin, and tachycardia, etc. Atropine should be continued for 7 to 10 days. Atropine should be continued for 7 to 10 days. So, so So specific antidote is atropine 2 mg IV repeated every 10 minutes till atropinization. As I told you right now, up to 200 mg has been administered per day. Cholinesterase reactivator like auxin, tolidauxin, these should be given in 24 hours of exposure. After that, they cannot. There is no use of. There is no use. They can't act. Cholinesterase reactivator auxin like tolidauxin, IV slowly in dose of 1 to 2 grams. In for children, 20 to 40 mg per kg. And now coming to the anticholinergic drugs. Anticholinergic drugs are also called as cholinergic blocking drugs. Okay, from here, cholinergic drugs are over. From here, cholinergic drugs are over. Now we'll discuss about anticholinergic drugs. Anticholinergic drugs. Anticholinergic drugs are also called as cholinergic blocking drugs or parasympatholytic drugs. Anticholinergic drugs are also called as cholinergic blocking drugs and parasympatholytic drugs are anti-muscarinic agents. Okay. These anticholinergic drugs block the muscarinic receptor mediated action of acetylcholine on the heart, CNS, smooth muscle, and exocrine gland. These drugs block the muscarinic receptor mediated action of acetylcholine on the heart, CNS, smooth muscle, and exocrine gland. Atropine and scopolamine are belladonna alkaloids. Atropine is obtained from Atropa belladonna and scopolamine from Hyoscyamus niger. Okay. This is brief introduction about anticholinergic. Cholinergic antagonists are also called as cholinergic blockers or anticholinergic drugs or parasympatholytic drugs. The most useful of these agents selectively block the muscarinic receptor of the parasympathetic nerves. These drugs are also called as muscarinic antagonists or parasympatholytics. So acetylcholine is an agonist at both the receptors, nicotinic as well as muscarinic receptor. The nicotinic action of acetylcholine remains constant when the muscarinic receptors are blocked. There is nicotinic actions remains when muscarinic receptors are blocked. So, did you understand? Acetylcholine in higher doses, it's act on both the receptors. This is so. Did you understand? Acetylcholine as an agonist at both muscarinic and nicotinic receptors. Here, these are the anti-muscarinic drugs. So, muscarinic receptors are blocked. Even nicotinic action remains there only because it has actions on both the receptors. Okay. Classification. Natural alkaloids are atropine and hyoscine. Semi-synthetic derivatives, homotropin, atropine methonitrate, hyoscine, butyl bromide, ipratropium bromide, and tiotropium bromide. Synthetic compounds which are used medriatically. Cyclopentolate and propygamide. Synthetic compounds that are used in medriotics like cyclopentolate and propygamide. Antisecretory antispasmodics. In that, quaternary ammonium compound, propanthalin, oxyquinonium, clindonium, pipenjolate, methyl bromide, isopropamide, and glycopyrrolate. Tertiary ammonium compound, dicyclomine, phenethamide, pyrimethamine, and vasoconstrictive oxybutynin, flavoxate, tolterodine. Anti-Parkinsonian drugs, benzoxal, rosaclidine, and bipridine. So chemistry of atropine. It is a tertiary alkaloid obtained from Atropa belladonna, Datura stomatum, and ester topic acid with a complex organic base of atropine. Okay. So pharmacokinetics. It is lipid soluble, well absorbed from the gastrointestinal tract and mucous membrane. It will process the blood-brain barrier but restricted at low doses. Applied to eye, they freely penetrate cornea and 50% is metabolized in liver, rest is excreted unchanged in urine, and their half-life is 3 to 4 hours. Therapeutic uses. Largely replaced by semi-synthetic and synthetic anticholinergics, antispasmodic, mydriatics, nocturnal diuretics, and pre-anesthetic medication, bronchial asthma, and Parkinsonism. Anticholinergics are used in these conditions. Now we'll discuss about scopolamine. Individually, we will discuss the drug. It is similar to atropine and sources Hyoscyamus niger. It is similar. Hyoscine is similar to atropine, but there is a few differences. Ester of tropic acid and scopine. It is a depressant of central nervous system and producing amnesia, drowsiness, euphoria, and sleep because it has a depressant action on CNS. Okay, and more anti-secretory action on exocrine gland. It is less antispasmodic action on smooth muscle. It is used in motion sickness, psychosis, mania, delirium, and tremors. Okay. Atropine substitutes. Atropine substitutes. According to their therapeutic uses, they have been divided into mydriatics, antispasmodics, vasoconstrictive, anti-Parkinsonian drugs, and bronchodilators. Okay. Mydriatics, homotropin. Mydriatics. These are used topically, short duration of action. These are used to overcome the difficulties caused by atropine. The drugs are homotropin, cyclopentolate, and tropicamide. These are used in mydriatics. Homotropin, 10 times more potent than atropine. Its acting 45 to 60 minutes. Mydriasis lasts for 1 to 3 days, while accommodation recovers in 1 to 2 days. Homotropin often produce unsatisfactory cyclophagia in children who have high muscle tone. Okay, less potent than atropine. It is less potent than atropine, and it often produces unsatisfactory cyclophagia in children. Cyclophagia, but the vision is not clear. Cyclophagia, who have high muscle tone. Cyclopentolate. Cyclopentolate is a potent and rapidly acting, that is action lasts for 30 to 60 minutes and lasts about a day. Preferred for cyclophagic refraction, also used in iritis and uveitis. Tropicamide, quickest And briefest action. Quickest action is 20 to 40 minutes and briefest action is 3 to 6 hours. It is relatively unreliable cyclophagy. However, it is satisfactory for refractory testing in adults. Quaternary ammonium compound, antispasmodic drug, that is a quaternary ammonium compound. These have certain common features: incomplete oral absorption, they do not cross blood-brain barrier and conjunctiva, the duration of action is longer than atropine, and in higher doses they cause ganglionic blockade. Still higher doses, neuromuscular blockade also, and respiratory paralysis. Antispasmodic drugs. Drugs in the category are hyoscine and butyl bromide. IM, the hyoscine butyl bromide can be given IM, oral, subcutaneously or IV. Less potent and longer acting than atropine. Used for esophageal and gastrointestinal spastic conditions. Atropine methionine, it is given orally or intramuscularly for abdominal colics and hyperacidity. Antispasmodic drugs, propantheline. It is given orally, popular anticholinergic used for peptic ulcer and gastritis. It is a popular anticholinergic used for peptic ulcer and gastritis. It has some ganglionic blocking activity and it reduces acid secretion. Only milder side effects. It has only milder side effects. Gastric emptying delayed and action lasts for 4 to 8 hours. It is used now its use is declined due to availability of other H2 antagonists. Oxyphenonium, it is given orally, similar to propantheline. It is given in peptic ulcer, gastrointestinal hypermotility. Clindonium, it is given orally, used in combination with benzodiazepine for nervous dyspepsia, gastritis, and irritable bowel syndrome, colic, and peptic ulcer. Pipenzylate or methyl bromide. It is given orally, used for fluctuant dyspepsia and infantile colics and other GI spasm. Tertiary amine, dicyclomine. It is given orally or intramuscularly. It has direct smooth muscle relaxant action. It has direct smooth muscle relaxant action in addition to weak anticholinergics. It also has antiemetic property. At doses produce few atropine side effects. Not recommended for infants below 6 months of age because of adverse effects. It is used as antiemetic for morning and motion sickness and dysmenorrhea and irritable bowel syndrome. Valethomate, it is used to hasten dilatation of cervix when the same is delayed during labor and as visceral antispasmodic action. Pyrazidine, it is given orally, selective M1 blockade. It inhibits the gastric secretion without typical atropine side effects. And it is overshadowed by other H2 blocking drugs. Vesicoselective drug, oxybutynin, it is recently introduced. It has high affinity for receptor in urinary bladder and salivary glands with additional smooth muscle relaxant and local anesthetic property. Relatively selective for M1 and M3 and M2 receptors. Used in detrusor instability. It is used in detrusor instability, neurogenic bladder, and spina bifida and nocturnal enuresis. And side effects are common after oral dosing. tolterodine. These are relatively M3 selective and preferential action on urinary bladder, indicated in overactive bladder. It is metabolized by cytochrome P3A4 enzyme and should be held in patient receiving erythromycin and ketoconazole. Flavaxate, it is similar to oxybutynin. Anti-Parkinsonism drugs, tricyclic, that is benzoxazole, procyclidine, bipyridine, orphanidine, and promethazine. These are drugs which are used in anti-Parkinsonism. Bronchial dilator, ipratropium bromide. It is given by inhalational route. It acts selectively on the bronchial smooth muscle without altering volume or consistency of respiratory secretions. It has gradual onset and late peak, that is 60 to 90 minutes onset of action. More suitable prophylactic than symptomatic relief. More suitable prophylactic than symptomatic relief. More effective in COPD than bronchial asthma. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It is more effective in chronic obstructive pulmonary disease than bronchial asthma. Transient local side effects, but rare systemic effects. Tiotropium bromide. It is a congener of ipratropium bromide. Tiotropium bromide is a congener of ipratropium bromide. It is bind very tightly to M1 and M3 receptor. It is not absorbed from the respiratory and GI mucosa. And uses are anti-secretory, pre-anesthetic, anticholinergic uses are these are also used as anti-secretory agent in pre-anesthetic medication, in peptic ulcer, pulmonary embolism, as antispasmodic in bronchial asthma and COPD, as mydriatic and cycloplegic to diagnostic purpose and therapeutic purpose, as in cardiovagolytic and for central action like this is Parkinsonism and motion sickness, and to antagonize the muscarinic effect of the drugs and poisons. These are the uses of anticholinergic drugs. Side effects and toxicity. The side effects are quite common with atropine and other congeners. Belladonna poisoning may occur due to drug overdose or consumption of seeds and berries of belladonna, datura plant. Okay, children are highly susceptible, and manifestations are due to exaggregated and pharmacological actions. Manifestations are due to exaggregated pharmacological actions, and side effects and toxicity: dry mouth, difficulty in swallowing, and dry, flushed and hot skin, fever, difficulty in micturition, decreased bowel sounds, rash may appear, dilated pupil, and photophobia, blurring of near vision, and palpitation. Excitement, psychotic behavior, ataxia, delirium, and dreadful visual hallucination, hypotension, weak and rapid pulses, and cardiac collapse with respiratory depression, convulsion and coma in severe poisoning. Side effects and toxicity. Continuation. Diagnosed by giving methacholine 5 mg or neostigmine 1 mg subcutaneously, paid to produce typical muscarinic effect. And treatment: ingested gastric lavage with tannic acid, and patients should be kept in dark and quick room, and cold sponging or ice bags are applied over the body, and physostigmine 1 to 3 mg subcutaneously or IV. Other general measures should be taken. Contraindication. So absolutely contraindicated in individuals with narrow angle glaucoma. And caution is advocated in elderly males with prostatic hypertrophy. Urinary retention can occur. That is why Casein is advocated in elderly males. Casein is advocated in elderly males with prostatic hypertrophy because urinary retention can occur. Drug acting on the autonomic ganglia. There is no drug which can act selectively either on parasympathetic or sympathetic ganglion. They act on preganglionic fiber of suprarenal medulla also. They act on the preganglionic fibers of supraspinal medulla also. Suprarenal medulla. Transmission along the autonomic ganglia can be modified by the ganglionic stimulants and blocking agents. Ganglionic stimulants, selective nicotine, globulin, dimethyl piperazine, tetramethyl ammonium, and non-selective acetylcholine, carbohol, pilocarpine, anticholinesterase, MCN 343A. Ganglionic stimulants, nicotine. Nicotine is obtained from nicotina tobacco. Important in context of smoking or chewing tobacco. There is no clinical application. Nicotine transdermal patches are available. It has recently become available for the treatment of nicotine dependence and has aid to smoking cessation. Competitive blockers: quaternary ammonium compound, hexamethonium, petroleum, and amines, mecamylamine, and pempidine, monosulfonium, and trimethophan. Persistent depolarizing blockers: nicotine in high doses, anticholinesterase in high doses. No clinical relevance. There is no clinical applications. Thank you. Thank you. Class is over.